for you, and then we're going to shuffle out the spread to get the cards for this month, okay? I feel like a lot of you are going to be facing some difficulties for this month, and here is where we can, flush through some of the issues and to get clarity on those things so that you can move on for this month feeling a little bit freer, okay? I feel like a lot of you, there's this big burden on your chest. It feels to me like the energy is very heavy, and it feels almost as if, on the one hand, you feel like you're alone. You have to deal with it alone. You have to cope with it alone. But on the other hand, they're really telling you to reach out. If there are things that you need to, vent to other people, please do so. And if there are ideas swirling around in your head and you want to, like, get a blueprint out, I feel like reaching out to other people is actually going to be good for you. So you're not alone. Don't try to go through this process alone. First of all, the image I was getting is Atlas, and what that means to me overall is it deals with, the that Greek god that carries the weight of the world on his back. And I feel like that's what a lot of you have been doing, okay? I feel for some of you, this is like physical responsibilities. A lot of people relying on you for things. Co-workers, families, relationship partner. And you are a really stoic, independent sign. You pride yourself in your ability to always have a very firm footing and to manage things in a way that, you never drop the ball. You don't fumble. You don't complain. And I feel as if you're being so hard on yourself to, get all of these things done to stay afloat that you don't realize that it's detrimental to you, like emotionally and physically, okay? I do feel an element of emotional, spiritual issues manifesting in a physical way. So you might feel like, lightheaded. You might feel like very drained energetically, low energy. And I feel like all of these things around you, all of the things that you're trying to juggle and manage and, keep afloat, these things are wreaking havoc on your emotional health. Okay? Second message that I have here is you're going to need other people this month. You're going to know who to come to, who to trust. And so I do sense that, reaching out to other people, being able to vent, being able to bounce ideas off of somebody, getting a second opinion as well, that's going to be coming through, and it would be crucial for you to try to get that emotional support, okay? Don't try to do it all alone because it feels very lonely up there, all right? Third message that I have out here is they mention, I'm seeing, this image of a lot of you might be students. And, as students, you might have like group study, right? Group study, group work. And I feel like somebody's stealing your ideas. It feels to me like, they're posing it as, oh, I already know the answer, but what do you think? And they're asking you that to solicit some response from you. And I feel it might be important. You know who these people are. You're a very smart, intuitive, sign. If they come to you that way, try to keep yourself, try to hold back information is what I'm sensing. You don't have to, be vindictive and lead them astray, giving them the wrong answer. But at the same time, I feel like you need to hold back because, to each his own. Everyone needs to be accountable for their studies, for their work, for their contributions, right? So it's only fair that you hold back when you feel that the other person is trying to free ride off you, okay? And then I'm sensing some of you are in a working situation where there's some discrepancy when it comes to money, okay? So like money kind of like disappearing from the cash register, little funds here and there shifted around through the different accounting systems, different bank accounts. There's something going on here as it relates to money for many of you. And I feel it feels almost like even if you were, let's say working on a commission basis, right? And you kept track of your mileage, you kept track of your clients, you kept track of your commission scale. And then by the end of the month, it's like, something is short. Did they do the accounting correctly? Something is short. It feels like that to me. And then others, I feel like there's physical money being shifted around in your work environment. And, it's like, where did it go? Where did it come from? So it might stir up some type of internal investigation. I'm sensing that for some of you. So just be careful. If you're the one swirling things away when you're not supposed to, just, not this month, okay? This is not a month to test your luck, okay? I don't feel it's coming from you, but I feel it's coming from your environment. Just be careful nonetheless. If you see it, bring it up to somebody's, like bring it up in a board meeting, bring it up in a staff meeting, get to the root of it, and be the first person to bring it up so that, you're off the hook, okay? Last message I have here, I believe is the last one. First of all, I feel like there are a lot of you that needs to really re-examine your relationships, okay? And the relationships basically indicates kind of like either a business relationship, a romantic relationship, and work on the communication. Work on the communication. If somebody is being evasive, okay, there's a reason why they're being evasive. And if they keep doing it over and over and over again, change your tactics. So I feel like, as straightforward as you are, this is the month in which you need to change your strategy if you want to get the outcome and the results that you're looking for. You might need to be a little bit more cunning. You might need to be a little bit more, rather than being a straight shooter and straightforward, I feel like you need to take a different approach. And it's like, meet them at their level. Meet them at their level. This is not doing so. This is not about, being petty, being vindictive. This is about changing your strategy in order to get what you want and to get what you need. And if you're dealing with somebody who's very indirect, if you're dealing with somebody who's like, low vibrational to the point where they are running circles around you, you're going to need to change your strategy to navigate that tenuous relationship. Okay? So let me talk first of all. These two cards came out very, very strongly. So Capricorns, the Magician. The Magician is somebody that is has a lot of skills, has a lot of talent, and has a lot of, I want to say, like, ideas that's constantly brewing in their heads, okay? And I feel like for this month, this is you. This is you operating at your very best, where you look at a problem and you're like, wait a minute, there's an easier way to do this. Wait a minute, there's a better way to fix this. Looking at a problem and strategizing, trying to figure out some type of a solution. I do feel as well, you have a wealth of knowledge. You have a lot of abundance when it comes to problem solving. Um, like I'm sensing that many of you, your mind is really structured. You retain information really well, okay? And I also feel that some of you have a genius streak about you, especially if you're kind of like on the tail end of Capricorn moving into Aquarius, like people on the cusp. I feel like you have a streak of genius about you where you have really good spatial orientation. You look at something and you know how all the pieces fit together. Okay? So that might be especially for the people born in the later decans of Capricorn. But I also feel overall, your ability to persuade people, if you're born, near the cusp of Sagittarius or closer to the Sagittarius border, you have very, very high leadership capabilities. You're very fearless. You're able to take risks. You're able to analyze situations and change your behavior to act accordingly. So you have really, really good practical as well as theoretical skills that you're bringing to the table. Don't ever question that, okay? I do feel some of you, one of the reasons why you're not able to operate on this positive traits and bring all the positive things that you have to the table is there's a lot of self-doubt. There's a lot of fear of, Am I right? Am I wrong? How are people going to look at me? Do I want to be like, the teacher's pet? Do I want to be the show off? Do I want to stand out from the crowd and be shot down? So I feel like, there's this element here about wanting to conform, wanting to be average, wanting to fit in with the crowd, not wanting to really break out and do something new and be in the spotlight and, you know, um, grab more for yourself. So I do sense that element about you. And on the other hand, you are somebody that you're a sign that works really hard. And I feel like when people give you work, you do it to the best of your capabilities. And you want that to be it. And so reaching, extending, just that, going that extra step to really stand out, to prove yourself to be a leader, it's challenging for you. Okay, so it feels like it dismantles everything else that you believe in. And so they say that, Capricorns are the social climbers, but I feel like in many ways you are very conformist. Like majority of you, I feel like you do things by the book. You don't want to rock the boat, and you don't want, it makes you uncomfortable to stand out too much. You like the recognition and the accolades that comes with it, but if you have to, like, put yourself out there too much, it makes you a little bit nervous. So there's this sense here about, am I good enough? Am I able to do the job? There's a lot of self-doubt coming into leadership qualities. It's very, the leadership qualities, I feel like, Leos lead, right? But they do it in a way where it can rub people the wrong way. I feel like you have a quiet demeanor about you where you lead not because you want power, not because you want fame, not because you want that spotlight, but you lead because you have the skills and the capability to lead people correctly, okay? And so you lead, but you also solicit advice. You also take other people's, input into account. So I feel like you're still a team player. And so this energy coming through, I feel that it's like, it seems to me like, you're holding yourself back a lot based on self-doubt, based on fear, based on, am I going to be able to succeed? So there's a lot of fear that prevents you from trying new things, okay? Um, what I'm also feeling overall with this spread here is I feel that you're dealing with somebody that has this personality. And this personality is somebody who is a talker, but not a doer, okay? It's somebody that is like really good at convincing other people to do things for them. So in a way, they can come off very charming, very likable. But I feel like deep down there's a little bit of a lazy streak about them. They know how to talk a big game and they get everybody to, bring me this, bring me that, and also, do this, do that. I'm right behind you. I'm doing it too, but they're not. So I feel like you're dealing with somebody who's quite charming, who's quite good at, convincing other people to believe a specific thing. And so you might be dealing with this person as a romantic partner. You might be dealing with this person, and I'm feeling like work, okay, at work, like a coworker or somebody that you interact with heavily on a regular basis. And they're charming. They're charming. You can't resist them. Like you bring a lot of yourself to give to them, right? And so they're pretty much telling you, you need to learn to hold back a little bit because this person is charming, but they have a little bit of a lazy streak. When push comes to shove, they're not going to hold up their end of the bargain. Okay, so I feel like knowing where we place like trust and faith in other people, that's going to be very, very important for you. Okay, so that's what I'm sensing here. And so it's really important for you to safeguard your ideas, safeguard your projects. Make sure that, everything is kind of like, make sure you keep everything contained, okay, with people that you trust. Make sure that you don't share too much of yourself because other people are kind of like picking off all of these things that you have, and then you might end up with very little. So I feel like that's really important, okay? There's an element here, and I feel like this is it's karmic. I'm sensing that many of you, both of these cards indicate going back to school. They indicate, heavily, you have a lot of skills, but I feel like your ability to express, your ability to verbalize what you know is kind of hinder, or it's severely limited because of lack of schooling. So for example, if you want to know something in depth, if you want to know, how all the pieces of the puzzle fit together, I feel that there's a major encouragement here about going to school, going back to school, pursuing higher education, so that the way that you speak and the things that you know are kind of like matching up, okay? Rather than like over inflating what we know or downplaying what we know, mainly because we feel like, oh, people are not going to trust us because we don't have the proper credentials. We don't have the proper certificate. We didn't finish a specific class, for example. So I feel like there's a big element here about, going back to school, finishing up your coursework, and, getting the proper credential under your belt so that you have the credibility under your belt. I'm also sensing some of you are just like, you might not feel like your heart's in it anymore, but I feel that it's going to be good for you. So, don't give up on that yet, okay? Keep, like, fight another day. Keep at it. It's going to pay off, okay? So I do feel that element here about, needing to round out your knowledge, round out your basic knowledge and your theoretical knowledge, your practical knowledge and theoretical knowledge. So I feel like those things are really important for you to consider and for you to really think about, because I feel like it's really going to help your income. It's really going to help you professionally to have the credibility that you need, and to also network, and to, have the proper skills. And I feel that especially leadership capabilities, it comes with, being able to explain things really well, very thoroughly, and to kind of like demand that attention from other people, okay, in order for them to have their eyes glued on you and for you to be able to express yourself thoroughly. Another thing that I am feeling here is I feel like this spread is incredibly relationship oriented. And one of the things that I'm sensing here, we have this figure. And let me talk about this first. I feel almost as if like a lot of you are really fearful, and especially, like if you have come from an environment, home environment that is very repressive for whatever reason, where, there might have been like traditional gender roles. So culturally, there might be gender roles that dictates, okay, girls are supposed to do this, men are supposed to do this, women are supposed to do this, boys are supposed to do this, and family members have to treat each other in a very specific way. So if there have been situations, social norms, structure where you feel like very repressed, where you feel like you couldn't really express yourself emotionally, I'm sensing some of you are having to deal with this as it relates to, how you're able to show yourself, express yourself, and be more emotionally available to your partner, okay? So I feel like there's an element here about, having to suppress your emotional needs and wants for a really, really long time. And then now that you're an adult and you have to express yourself because your partner wants that from you, it's really hard. And so if that's the problem that you're dealing with now, I do feel honestly journaling might be good for you. Um, Writing to the other person, if you, for whatever reason, feel uncomfortable being able to, communicate with them face to face, expressing in a way. So this is all about, finding a different way to do something this month, finding an alternative, finding a more creative path, okay? Breaking out of our norms and doing things in a different manner. So if you have trouble communicating verbally, face to face, find a different way. Write them a letter, write them a text, write them an email, whatever it is to express yourself. Because I feel like somebody's demanding more. It's almost like I'm seeing them telling you, like, you act like you don't care. You act ambivalent. You act so indifferent. And so it creates a mirroring effect. I'm sensing, you know, like one person acts almost like, oh, I don't really care, or acts very standoffish and very aloof, and then the other person feels feels like, oh, this relationship is coming to an end, and then they start to distance themselves, and then you're just like, oh, they're distancing themselves from me, so I guess they don't like me anymore. So I feel like this major mirroring effect, and it doesn't have to happen this way. It just basically means you need to open yourself up more. You need to express yourself. You need to really express your emotional needs. You need to learn to express yourself. It's not about this, you know, talking about the weather, talking about, oh, you should know I like you. You know, based on all the things that I do, it's not about those practical, tangible, physical things. It's more about those, you know, deep-rooted emotional connection, because I feel like if you don't do this in your relationship, something is going to come to an end soon, okay? And if your partner feels very isolated, and if your partner in particular is a fire sign, so Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo, if they're a fire sign, I feel like they feel that they're not getting their emotional needs met, and they might just bounce. Okay, so they might just remove themselves from the equation. So it's almost like, you know, the partner doesn't really know which way to go here. And so doing things, you know, showing them through verbal communication, through gestures, you know, of kindness, whatever it is, just do it, okay? Because I feel like something is in danger of crumbling down, and you have the capabilities to fix it right now. Like, it's not too late, but don't wait until the very end, okay? So that's for those in relationships. I feel like there's some fixing that needs to happen. And then on the other hand, if you're the one that, you know, you're the one putting in a lot of the work, and your partner is indifferent, you need to do some damage control by telling them what you need. So expressing yourself, your needs, your wants, what needs to happen in order for you to be happy as a couple. That's going to be really important as well. So I feel like this spread is very relationship oriented, okay? But one last thing that I want to talk about here, and let me talk about these two cards. So this is not going to apply to everybody, but I feel like it's coming out strongly. First of all, Capricorns, you need to take care of yourself, okay? Take care of yourself first. You're not supposed to be anybody's like stepping stone. You're not supposed to be anybody's kind of like safety net, okay? So that means it's like you have this that you're barely able to maintain, okay? This is job, this is security, this is financial situation. Things are going to be on the upswing for you guys, mainly because I feel like you're moving in the right direction. But you need to treasure this, and you need to learn to prioritize it, okay? Whatever this means to you. And I feel for many of you, it's like starting out, learning new things, and getting your life in order, getting your financial situation in order. And you're working at that. And so there are other people that are depending on you for things. And if you are constantly in a state where, you know, you have to extend your hands out to reach out to them and help them, you're going to drop the ball in your own life. So turn your back from unhealthy situations, unhealthy relationships, unhealthy people that demand so much of you, and they take away your energy, and they can't really give back, okay? That's going to be very crucial as you navigate the next phase, which is, you know, trying to better yourself, trying to improve your financial situation, trying to figure out practical ways and like, you know, a career path, or even whatever you can do that really stirs your passion so that you can achieve that financial stability that you're looking for. So you're going to need to, you know, turn your back on some things, just kind of like turn a blind eye. Draw back your energy. Don't waste your energy on dead ends, and don't waste your energy on situations that are completely outside of your control, okay? I'm going to leave it at that, and let me see about your love, relationship, romance reading for this month. Okay, so it actually looks good. It actually looks like you're headed in the right direction when it comes to relationships. So everything I mentioned before, it still applies because I feel like some of you are trying to move away, okay? And there is a little bit of guilt that I'm feeling as you move away because you have a really big sense of responsibility. And especially if you share, like, children, if you have children with another person, just the sheer thought of, a broken family, it's enough of a incentive for you to stay in an unhealthy relationship. And so I feel like you're doing some reassessment this month. And I feel for many of you, that sense of obligation, that sense of responsibility, it is very honorable. I feel like it is very honorable. But you need to know as well, whether or not it's worth it, okay? So let me first of all talk about this. This is you showing up here. The Knight of Coins, so the Knight of Pentacles. This is like the slowest moving knight in the deck, okay? I feel like some of you are newly single. You're trying to jumpstart your new life. You're looking over a cliff to see, kind of like scouting the area. What's out there? What's available? What's the dating scene like? Where do I stand? What kind of people can I land? So I feel like you're scouting, 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 and not really budging, not really making a move. Okay? And then on the other hand, I feel like you're doing this mainly because you like the idea of having options. You like the idea of, the it's almost like that fantasy about, if we don't do it, we don't know what's out there. So while we're here, we're safe. We can still fantasize. We can still, play out all of these scenarios in our heads, right? And I feel like there's safety in that. And some of you are just really scared about starting over, about, making introductions, telling people I'm single, having to go through the awkwardness when it comes to dating, because it's not comfortable to put ourselves out there. It's not comfortable to meet a bunch of random strangers and try to make connections, right? It's not comfortable. But this is the place where you're coming from. This is somebody that has been through a lot of pain. He's got like an eye patch. He's missing an eye. He's got a lot of scars on his body. So this is somebody that has been through a lot. And it's almost like they're, first of all, afraid of love. And I also feel like they've seen so much, okay? So I'm getting a lot of military people that might have been deployed overseas, have seen kind of like the worst of humanity. I'm getting some people that might have been, might have dealt with a situation where I'm seeing like law enforcement for some reason. So, you might be in your squad car with your partner and you've seen a lot. You've seen like the worst of humanity. So I'm seeing like a lot of military people, a lot of law enforcement people, a lot of people in uniform, and also a lot of people that it's almost like some of you are scared to take that first step. You've been hurt, but I don't feel like you're a fearful sign. So I feel like the energy might be internalized, where you've seen a lot and you're just like, I'm too scarred. Who's gonna want me? Who's gonna love me? So that's where I feel you're operating from, Capricorns. And don't do that, okay? Don't fall into this. This is self-pity. And this is not you. And I feel like this is something that is very, very deep and very internal. And you're just like doubting your capabilities of, it's like your heart is frozen. And this is the month where a lot of healing can actually take place. If you reach out, if you kind of like, unload, vent to another person, talk about, what happened, talk about, what are some of the things that make you feel this way. Okay, so I'm sensing some of you have seen too much. You've seen too much in life, and you're not really sure if other people can love you back. Your heart is kind of frozen and you're not really sure what you need to do to feel connected to humanity again, to feel passion and excitement for another person again. So I feel like some of you are single, stuck in this space, not being able to express yourself. It's very frustrating. It's really frustrating because you see everything around you you see how your emotional distance is affecting, the people you love. It's almost like, words are kind of like rolling off the tip of your tongue, but you can't say, they won't come out. Knowing what to say, but not being able to say it's really frustrating. And I feel like your partner is drifting away because they're just like, you don't care. And you do care, but you don't know how to express it, because I feel like some of you, um, you've just seen too much and you're a little bit battle scarred, okay? So I'm going to leave that alone because I feel like that might be a small minority, but I would strongly urge you, if that is the case, if you've seen a lot of trauma, if you've seen kind of like the worst of humanity, wars, and, if you're like former soldier, police officer, something like that, if you're put in really, really tenuous situations and you've seen what people are capable of, I feel like it makes you feel very numb, right? And you go home to your family and your loved one, and it's really hard. You just feel this ambivalence. You just feel this disconnect. Even though you might care about your loved ones and your family, you don't know how to express it. You don't know how to have a normal relationship again. And so get this taken care of, and this might not be something that you can do on your own. Therapy is going to help, okay? I'm going to leave it at that because I feel like the foundation here basically talks about, this situation where there is financial fluctuation. So I feel like some of you are dealing with this as well. A lot of financial uncertainty, a lot of financial fluctuation, and also a lot of emotional fluctuation. So you might be in a situation where financially things are not secure and safe. If that's the case, it's going to get better. And I do see, so financially, I feel like you're not going to have to worry anymore. And the major thing here is this is a card overall of having some type of a therapeutic breakthrough for good, for good. It's going to help you overcome these emotional fluctuations. It's going to help you flush out some of the baggage you've been carrying for a really, really long time, and you don't really know where you can dump them. And I'm sensing, especially since this message came out first, you're going to be able to have that breakthrough. You're going to feel connected to people again, and you're going to feel quite good again, okay? Just give it some time. And then this cluster, I feel like it's dealing with another group of you guys. So let me talk about the past. What we have here is a situation where two people are very skeptical of one another, okay? So I feel like some of you were dating this person. There's trust issues here. So we have here the Page of Coins, and we have here the Page of Swords. So first of all, the Page of Coins, pages usually are not stable, are not secure, okay? And this person seems like they're a little bit self-serving. This person seems like they're a little bit more like got the wandering eyes. So there might have been a situation in the past where somebody's got the wandering eyes and the other person is very, very suspicious. But I feel like there has been a stalemate where they try to get answers from you, or vice versa, you try to get answers from them, and everybody is keeping, information back, holding back information, not divulging the truth, not talking about the truth. And so the relationship might have disintegrated altogether, but there are lingering trust issues. Or you are still with this person and the trust issues are still there. Nothing is resolved because nobody wants to openly and honestly communicate. So I feel like this is something some of you are dealing with, and you're trying to fix it. You don't know how. You don't really know how. Okay? And, over time, if a situation happens where two people cannot communicate with each other, it can breed a lot of hostility and resentment if it gets dragged on, if things are not resolved, and especially if there are trust issues as well. It's not going to resolve itself, okay? So I feel like some of you are dealing with somebody that you feel is very critical, and then likewise, it's like somebody walking on eggshells around another person. Everything they say, they kind of twist your words and turn it into a major argument to make you look bad. That's what it feels like to me. Like you're with somebody that is a little bit already like hostile towards you. So no matter what you do, even if it's like a kind gesture, they either question it or they twist your words and they make it into a situation that can they make it seem like it's your fault even when you're trying to do something nice. And Capricorns, moving forward to now, in your present situation, we have here the Two of Cups and the Justice card. First of all, this Two of Cups energy linked up with the Justice card, it can be a soul contract that is coming to an end, okay? It's a soul contract. It might have been a marriage. It might have been an engagement. And if there's a lot of hostility, it needs to be disbanded. So I feel like you're at a point where you're trying to figure out, do I, get divorced? Do I leave the person? Do I pursue legal proceedings so that we can extract ourselves, extract our finances, divvy up our assets? Okay, so I feel like some of you are really thinking about this. And moving forward to this predicament, this is the soul contract. Soul contracts are very karmic. Soul contracts usually involve a situation where I feel like, and this is for those who believe, especially in reincarnation. Soul contracts basically means that unless the situation is resolved, you're going to encounter the same energies with another person. Soul contracts basically as well means that one person agreed, I'm going to take on this responsibility because I want to teach you a lesson. This is like your higher selves making a verbal contract with one another. And one person is always going to be deemed the bad guy. But they're okay with it because they signed that contract. So the lesson that you had to learn is very, very difficult between the two of you. And it's almost like one person feels like the other person is entirely at fault. And the other person takes it because that is what you do in order to help the other person learn. And I know that that explanation sounds very, very confusing. I probably didn't explain it very well. But what I'm sensing here is that there is a soul contract that you need to resolve. And I feel for some of you, it seems to me like this is a long-standing relationship and it has the potential to heal, but you need to take the initiative, okay? So I feel like you have a lot of control this month to heal a significant love relationship in your life so that things don't escalate, so that things don't get out of control. And a lot of what you can do is honestly, I feel, just verbally expressing your emotions so that the other person understands where you're coming from, okay? It doesn't mean like it's going to be a magic cure-all, but their energy is going to soften up when they hear that from you. So I feel like, communicating in a clear, succinct, but emotionally open way is going to allow you to get through to the other person, okay? Moving forward, so that's for some of you in relationship that are very tenuous and you need to do some fixing. I'm also feeling here, some of you you're like divorced from another person. You have a new relationship. You're divorced or, separated from a person. You have a new relationship here and you're scared of patterns repeating. Okay. So for example, if you have been, if your ex, told you you're not very emotionally available, right? They say that, or they're saying like, you're not spending enough time with me because you're working a lot, right? And your new relationship partner is echoing those same things. It brings up a lot of anxieties within you, and you're not really sure, like, am I doomed for this? So you have to do some damage control here in your relationship, okay? Moving forward, for those of you who are dating an earth sign, so Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, you're going to have a lot of support for them, okay? So I feel like if you're dating another earth sign, I do sense as well that financially between the two of you, there is going to be so much abundance, okay? And then on top of that, if you have switched or shifted into a new job, there is going to be a lot of harmony and a lot of just good good vibes coming into your relationship, and especially if you are in a relationship right now with another earth sign. Okay, so Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Um, Capricorns, I do want you to, I feel like it might be helpful for you, you know, like to write a letter, say your piece, okay? And really speaking from the heart, because I feel like you've been locked up for too long. Your heart is just it's very steely. It's really strong. You have a lot of inner strength. But I feel like the situation right now in your love relationship demands a little bit of softness, demands a little bit of, like, you know, openness, and that's going to be crucial for you. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. If you like to book a private reading with me, please visit my website in the description box below. I'm going to be back for the mid-month reading. Okay, Capricorns, I do wish you all the best. Take care of yourself, okay, and have a blessed